there's only, I think, 13 psychiatrists for every 100,000 people in our country. And so what's happening is the people who need the help, the people with the personality disorders, they're not being served. And so what's happening is they are negatively impacting all the people they come in contact with. And so it's kind of growing this problem. And so what we're finding is every day as we go through life, we're coming in contact with these people that have unhealed dialogues, that have manifested as personality disorders. And so when you share something that's vulnerable and that you're struggling with, if you're not being cautious about who you're sharing with, that person's going to use that against you in some way if they are unhealed and they have a lot of negative things going on in their mindset.
And you talk a little bit about these in-person workshops. Right off the bat, were they kind of one-on-one or were they with a bigger group?
Both. I do a lot of one-on-one sessions where I bring in, truth be told, a lot of anxiety management. So many of us are dealing with layers and layers of anxiety. And a lot of times these were things that actually started in our childhood, things that we were, messages and anxieties we were receiving from our parents. So I'm helping people kind of unravel these long histories of insecurity, stress, things that are kind of creating layers of not dealing with it properly. And so it becomes intensified during stressful times of life. And nothing like being a parent than seeing all of your downsides being played out as your children start to mimic and model you. So the one-on-one sessions really were important because people are not as likely to want to talk about shame and anxiety and all of that on a big public platform. They may not even be comfortable talking about mental health struggles and those types of things in a group setting, even if it is in person, just simply because there's such a stigma about mental health. I think really all over the world, but definitely here in the US. And so the group workshops can be really powerful too, because people realize that they're not alone. And so a lot of personality types. Some people are okay opening up and talking about what they're going through in a group setting, and others, they really need just that one-on-one connection to know that it's safe and they're not going to be shamed about what they're sharing and that kind of thing.
Do you think that that's one of the most important aspects, is ensuring that they feel safe?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, well, I know in the US, we have the second highest level of personality disorders in the world. We're only outnumbered by Colombia. So those are things like narcissism and psychopaths and sociopaths and all those really lovely personality types. And so the other side to that coin is that there's only, I think, 13 psychiatrists for every 100,000 people in our country. And so what's happening is the people who need the help, the people with the personality disorders, they're not being served. And so what's happening is they are negatively impacting all the people they come in contact with. And so it's kind of growing this problem. And so what we're finding is every day as we go through life, we're coming in contact with these people that have unhealed dialogues, that have manifested as personality disorders. And so when you share something that's vulnerable and that you're struggling with, if you're not being cautious about who you're sharing with, that person's going to use that against you in some way if they are unhealed and they have a lot of negative things going on in their mindset. So absolutely, I think we're learning as a country that we're learning as a world, as a human race, that if we don't feel safe in sharing, that somehow our failures and flaws and mindset struggles are going to come back and be used against us if we share. So absolutely, I think people struggle with feeling safe.
Mm-hmm. Would you say one of the main objectives of your workshops is to kind of educate these individuals of maybe what it is that they're going through and trying to help them understand, on a deeper level, and trying to find that maybe, I guess, insecurity or where these mental health issues come from?
Yes and no. I think people already have the beginnings of an understanding by the time they're open to receiving my messages and to attend my workshops. Somebody who's unhealed and doesn't have that self-awareness to see that they have work to do, they're not going to come to my workshops. They're going to maybe come across my platform and follow, but then they're going to unfollow it because they're not going to like that I'm making them put that mirror up to themselves. Whereas a person who's open and ready to heal, those are going to be the people that are like, okay, I'm ready to start thinking about my behaviors and how those are dragging myself further into the pit of despair and how those are impacting everybody around me. But I think the biggest piece is control. I think when people can release that perception of control that they think they have over everything going on in their life, and they're willing to let go of that control in order to go down this path of healing, it's really that control and understanding that there's some things they can have control over, like their mindset, and they can learn through learning tools that they actually do have more control than they originally thought over whether they fall down into that anxiety attack or they wallow in that state of depression for a few days. They realize that through learning tools, they have more control about those kinds of things. And then they get this ability to let go of the things that they've been trying to control but really can't, and then just increases their anxiety, like how other people react to you. Like, that's not actually in your control, and things like that.